According to former employees, there was one rule everyone quickly learned: do not ask too many questions. At first, many employees joined the institutions believing they were helping the society. Some were teachers, some were administrators, some were nurses, and others were support staff. Many believed they had found stable employment in the organization. The organization that claimed to help vulnerable children, promote education, and also support communities. But behind the public image, workers allegedly discovered another reality. And one of the biggest concerns raised by these employees involved the use of so-called volunteers. According to the internal observations and that were documented in the reports, many operational roles were reportedly performed by the foreign staff, classified as volunteers, or you can also call them the ABs. According to the internal observations documented in reports, and many operational roles were reportedly performed by these foreign staff, classified as volunteers or ABs, despite them receiving salaries and hefty benefits. These workers also claim that this system created two different realities inside the organization: one of the foreign supervisors and another of the local Ugandan employees. According to the testimony, the local workers allegedly received low salaries, some payments were delayed, and statutory deductions like NSSF and PAYE were not consistently remitted for many of the employees. Survival became more important than speaking out. So they got to learn something, that you can be replaced at any time. Several former workers describe an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. Employees feared dismissal, intimidation, isolation, or losing recommendation opportunities. Some workers claim they remained silent because they had families they supported. They feared unemployment, and they believed that powerful people could influence authorities. And according still to these former employees, once management considered you difficult, communication stops, responsibilities change suddenly, meetings happened without those workers, pressure at the workplace increased, and eventually dismissal followed. According to the reports also submitted by the former employees, several staff members were dismissed without proper disciplinary procedures. The affected individuals included administrators, nurses, HR personnel, and also institution staff. They were never issued with formal warnings, never invited to disciplinary hearings, and they were also never given a chance to defend themselves. Others had unpaid salary balances, unpaid NSSF, unresolved benefits after termination, and for many workers, that became a turning point. There's something many workers in Uganda understand very well. Sometimes people stay silent not because they are weak, but because they are afraid of what happens after speaking, afraid of losing income, afraid of being blacklisted, afraid of court battles, and also afraid of threats or public attacks. And this is why many stories inside these organizations never reach the public, because fear protects the systems, silence protects the systems, and isolation protects the system. But eventually, some workers decided enough was enough. Former employees eventually decided to seek legal redress through official institutions. Labor disputes connected to the organizations were filed before the industrial court also. The workers argue that labor laws were violated, salaries remain unpaid, and statutory obligations were ignored. For many former employees, going to court was not only about money, it became about dignity. It became about being heard and about sending a message that no worker should suffer in silence simply because an employer appears to be powerful. The story is no longer just about Mr. Sulait or one institution. It raises bigger questions. What happens when these organizations publicly appear humanitarian, but internally workers claim explorer? What happens when vulnerable communities trust systems they cannot fully see inside? What happens when fear becomes the management culture? These are questions this podcast will continue to investigate and look for answers.